but also their names: King, Knightley, Page, Chamberlain, Prince. They're all like references.
Hey,
Caitlin's mind is blown.
What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need, but you deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome. That's right. Finishing up our 4-year anniversary with the Cornetto Trilogy. We are continuing our theme of growth as we look at the next generation and our place in this ever-changing world. Today, we revel in the fact that as humans, we want to be free and we want to have a good time. That's right. Our marquee topic is the world's end.
Yeah, Roy!
Before we get too far into it, I am Corey.
I think I'm Tom.
Okay.
Cool. I'm Caitlin.
And I am definitely Josh. And this episode is brought to you in part by the members...
Robot.
Oh, yeah.
Blank.
Definitely a blank.
I'm, I'm totally Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by the members of the Nerd On Nation. That is powered by
Patreon.
As a member of the Nerd On Nation, you do get fun perks. Like, you get early access to these episodes. You get bonus episodes that nobody else hears. You get access to secret channels on our Discord server that nobody else gets access to.
Blank.
But you guys.
Blank.
The members of the Nerd On Nation.
Oh, man.
You're dying.
Anyway, check that out. You do help us grow. You help us be the best that we can be, upgrade our content, and keep doing this. We've been doing this for 4 years.
Crazy
4
business.
years.
4
years, 4 quarters, baby.
4 years.
4 more years.
4 more years. What?
4 more quarters.
We did the. I did the
that
math the other day, and by the end of 2021, we will have recorded 400 episodes.
Oh my god.
With the update and bonus, and yeah, that's a lot.
DMCA.
For 65 million years we've been recording.
Forever. We just referenced all episodes. Anyway.
Oh my Lord.
Check out the Nerd On Nation, nerdon.tv /Patreon, and do check out that Discord, nerdon.tv /Discord. Continue the conversation over there. And if you like what you hear today, if you like what you've heard over the past 4 years, stop by.
4
rate,
quarters.
Review. Share it with your friends, your family, all of that good stuff. That is how we grow.
Uh-huh.
And an honorable mention to Odyssey, Embody, and Apogee.
An apogee.
Yeah, pretty
And
good.
that is the housekeeping,
Oh, man. Wrapping it up quick.
right?
Look at us.
We're doing
Look
the
at us
thing.
go.
Nice.
What's next, Tom?
I was waiting for you. Let's get on this ending of an episode.
This world-ending episode.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
So that brings us to, if you've been keeping up with the series of our anniversary Cornetto Trilogy episodes, you know that at the end of this episode, we are going to rate it.
Yeah, we are.
So
yes.
that brings us to our first segment, which is Guess That Grump. I don't remember a song in this at all.
To vote what I want any old time. And you're the grump any old time.
Good job.
Yeah, Roy.
Yeah, Roy. Yeah, Roy.
So if you're brand new,
You're welcome.
listen.
Hi.
Yes, you're welcome. Listen to the first 2 episodes of this installment anniversary episode event. We are going to go around the table and guess who's going to have the lowest score from 1 out of 5, because at the end of the episode, we are going to rate it from one of those numbers. And no matter how high the number is, the lowest one will be the grunt for the week.
And we all wrote our numbers down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
In
Or
my
stamped the
mind.
table. Okay, there we are.
What'd she
There it
touch?
is.
Who'd she touch? And since I always explain and I never get it wrong, I'm gonna guess first.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm gonna guess first that the grump for this episode is going to be Corey.
Okay.
Mayor. I should run for mayor.
Oh my god.
All
You
right.
almost killed Josh.
Every time.
So that's a vote for Corey. Caitlin, Josh, who do you vote for?
Caitlin?
Mm.
That's who your vote?
No.
Yeah, Caitlin?
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We'll vote Caitlin.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Little
I
misdirection there. Or Mr. Direction, should I call him?
No,
Okay.
get out.
All right.
I think it's
It's
gonna
been real,
be-
guys.
I'm torn.
Hi,
between
Torn. My
2
name's Tom.
people. And I think it's gonna
Be my.
be Tom.
Okay. So that's a vote for me, a vote for Kaylin, a vote for Tom. Now it comes to me. Do I round out
Just
our
round it out.
final episode?
Just round it out.
I mean, you have to vote.
You do.
I know, but do I round it out by me?
So
like,
everybody has
so everyone has one, and then that means the Nerd On Nation decides who goes last?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
do
that's
it.
kind of
Do
poetic,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Do it.
Josh, I want you to know this. You're not my real guess
Well, then that's
on record.
not genuine.
You would have been my second choice.
Who was your first? Just out of curiosity.
I'll write it down.
Okay.
I'll write it down here.
Okay.
But now we all have one, and I like that. I think
Yeah.
that's really poetic because the Nerd On Nation is spoke. Hey, you sitting at home going, why'd you round it out?
Why'd you do that?
You know that Tom's going to be the grump of this episode.
What
for
the
you.
heck?
Why would you not do? Well,
I want to get in on this.
You want to get in on this? Is
Yeah.
that what they're saying? Is that what you're saying at home? Well, guess what? Join the Nerd On Nation, and you can take part in a poll to guess who the grump's going to be. And if you get it right, guess what? You're the Gator Grumper Greatest Gatorade networking golden
Smashy,
golden
Eggman.
mile guesser
Yes, sir.
grumper.
Crown.
Nice.
Crown. I don't.
And you get a shout out on the episode.
Crowning glory. Grumper.
So with that, the Nerd On Nation
has
has spoken.
have they?
And Caitlin,
It's not you.
you are their guest.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
It was a close one. It was a close one between you and Tom.
She doesn't like the color
But you
blue.
had
so.
one more vote.
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 You had one more vote.
You
than
had one
everybody
more
else.
vote.
One
'Cause she's a-
more
'cause
vote.
she's
You
a
had,
blank.
one, yeah, like you had
Everybody
one more vote and Tom, and
So
that's
it's
just
on
how
you.
it went down. So
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, James
All right.
McAvoy.
honored, sir.
So now we'll go into the next segment, which is going to be the complete spoiler. Which is going to be our initial reactions and our first impressions. I'll go first. You go first.
Okay. The World's End. I saw this in theaters. By this time, I was a full-fledged Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost human, full-fledged human living in LA.
Sure.
And so day one it came out, I was super excited, huge fan of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. And I remember walking out of the theater being like, this might be my favorite one. I'm not sure. I have to think about this for a little while. And so I watched it again. And then I watched it again. And then I watched it again for preparation for this. So I've seen it a lot. And like we said in the opening, the continuation of exploring growth and
Development.
development in life and how there are certain things you can cling to and certain things you can't. And learning how to differentiate between the two is a really wonderful lesson. And this has some of my favorite jokes in the trilogy in it, little sight gags, and from a technical standpoint, watching the growth of editing from and directing from Shaun of the Dead to here is really fascinating to me. So yeah, I like the movie.
Oh.
Catchphrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go next.
Please.
Saw it in the theaters. Bonnie and I were already like fans of their films and Spaced and everything. And then of course, Scott Pilgrim had come out a couple of years before this, and it was like, oh yeah, we're in this, we're ready. And I walked out and I was like, same experience where I was like, I really liked that, but I really need to think about why, because it didn't smash you over the head with the style that was Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. It gave you things to think about that you had to think more about, and like you were saying, the continuation of just being an adult and the growth and the development of the characters and the themes that are present in this film. Preparing for this, I had to watch it a few more times to be like, this is okay. I get it. And I really like this movie.
Okay. Kaylin, you and me.
Oh, I know what she's going to say.
Kaylin.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I guess you don't, Josh.
I don't know anything.
We're all full of surprises. 4-year anniversary. What's up?
Aren't we just?
We're all blanks.
No, we're not. I watched this movie several years ago. I did not know what to expect. And when things took the turn, boy howdy,
Boy howdy.
I
That first
had
fight.
a surprise in my life.
You had the surprise.
I had
had
the
the
surprise in my
surprise.
life.
Yeah.
I was not ready for what that became very quickly. Watching it again was much better
Oh.
because I was not shocked so much, and I also got to pay attention to a lot of tiny details that they put in
Mhm.
that I didn't see it as much at first.
You were like, this is a character drama. This is great.
oh,
It's not.
Oh, my bad.
no.
Oh, my bad.
I liked the movie very much.
Oh.
I wish there was more.
Oh.
Tom.
So I picked wrong.
Thumb.
I did not watch this in theaters. I think it was definitely on TV somewhere.
Mhm,
So I definitely got an edited version of it. But I did rewatch it recently for this, obviously. And I would have to say, it's really cool because it kind of reminds me of John Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it John Carpenter's Apocalypse trilogy?
Yeah.
How the World Ends?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, these are all like, the new version of that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun.
The new comedy versions.
Yeah.
Satire? Comedy.
Whatever. They're the ways the world ends.
Yeah.
And I think again, seeing these films together as a trilogy, you really have fun. Like kind of like what Corey said, exploring how they're gonna tell the story, that it develops in a way, but then also it's still thematic. So you can say you're a genre director, but this is more of like a thematic of trajectory. And even I guess even Scott Pilgrim has that too.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think to Corey's point as well, like this has some of my favorite jokes in here, and I really like, again, showing how versatile the actors are, especially Nick Frost, and seeing those changes, I just really enjoyed. So, yeah. I enjoyed.
What's funny is doing research for this particular episode was the only time that I had learned that it's also referred to as the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've always heard of it called the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little homage in this.
I
is pretty
didn't
great.
know what cornettos were until we started talking about the Cornetto trilogy, and then everyone said there were different flavors, and then I realized what they were.
They're like drumsticks.
Well, what
Yeah.
we should have done is just kept saying Cornetto, and then you just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go with it.
That's how a lot of
Silent
my
nod.
life
Uh-huh.
goes.
I love Cornetto's so heavy to carry sometimes, though. It's like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Totally.
And how hot it gets. It's just how crazy how much heat it can hold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I love that it carries so well. It
Yeah.
just travels really well. So everyone, now that we've gone through those two parts, we kind of know what the numbers of our ratings are going to be. We're going to move to the next two segments of our show, which are going to be our production and our brief synopsis. So I think the brief
I'm
synopsis goes first.
I'm
Yes.
going to read it.
Yes, please.
Gary King, Simon Pegg, is an immature 40-year-old who's dying to take another stab at an epic pub crawl that he last attempted 20 years earlier. He drags his reluctant buddies back to their hometown and sets out for a night of heavy drinking. As they make their way toward their ultimate destination, the fabled World's End pub, Gary and his friends attempt to reconcile the past and present. However, the real struggle is for the future, when their journey turns into a battle for mankind.
Bum, bum, bum.
The flame-broiled
That was
World's
so
End.
pleasant
Yeah.
of that.
It was a major key.
And then the production will be given to you by me.
Production.
So this is distributed by, so the cool thing between this film and the last film, the distribution kind of was a little different. So Universal Pictures distributed Hot Fuzz through the America, and then Universal Pictures distributed this one internationally, and then Focus Features is the one that technically produced this film. Just to
Okay.
give that a little heads up. Universal, best known from Jurassic Park, Prince of Egypt, and The Mummy. The director, of course, Edgar Wright, who at this point, we're going to just mention all the films that you know of. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Straight A, and Baby Driver. Producers, Nira Park from Space, The Glam Metal Detectives, and The Best of Blur. Tim Bevan from The Theory of Everything, Cats, Baby Driver, and Eric Fellner from Les Miserables, Hail Caesar, and About Time. The writers, Simon Pegg, who wrote such things as Star Trek Beyond, Run Fat Boy Run, and Spaced. Edgar Wright, who's written such things as the screenplay for Ant-Man, The Adventures of Tintin, and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. The cast is Simon Pegg, best from Saturday Night Live, Sex and Lies, and The Reckoning. Nick Frost from Ice Age, The Continental Drift, Attack the Block, and Into the Badlands. Patty Considine from Cinderella Man, Born Ultimatum, The Girl with All the Gifts. Martin Freeman from Animals, The Hobbit, and Black Panther. Eddie Marsan from Happy Go Lucky, 21 Grams, and Snow White and the Huntsman. Rosamund Pike from Gone Girl, Fracture, and Jack Reacher. And Pierce Brosnan from Mamma Mia, GoldenEye, and Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak?
Yeah.
I feel like the way that he finds these titles and he's like, oh, what's that?
Oh.
Oh.
What's the one they're not known for?
Yeah, it's like
Dante's
he picks
Peak?
up, it's almost like he picks up a file and then he looks and there's one left and he's like, what is this?
Oh my! It's
Dante's
it's
Peak.
literally.
We'll put that back in the
Do
file.
you want $10 billion or a secret box that potentially has $10 billion? I will go for the box, please.
Please, the box.
The release date. There's 3 of them. So July 10th, 2013 from Leicestershire Square. July 19th in 2013 for United Kingdom, and August 23rd, 2013 to United States. The runtime is 109 minutes. The budget was $20 million. It made $46.1 million worldwide. And the Rotten Tomatoes score is 89% from critics from 243 reviews, 71 from audience from 50,000 ratings.
Woof.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah. So that's all the production, all that mumbo jumbo. Now we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, which is going to be our spoiler-full third act.
Yes.
Dope.
Favorite parts, favorite characters, and I gotta jump in here. The entire ending argument with the network is one of the greatest bits
Oh my God.
of comedy writing that I've seen in a while. So
Yeah.
tongue-in-cheek and yet so sincere all at the same time.
Freedom.
Yeah.
My favorite. There's 2 parts of that where I just love at the end that the alien species is just like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, the whole bit about calling we're idiots. We're fucking. You can't control. We don't like being told what to do.
Mhm.
We like to be free. We want to get loaded. Yeah, and we want to do what we want to have fun. I see. There's no point in arguing with you. That killed me, but also there's more than one Gary King. But you just said, I know what I fucking just said. Kills me.
I really like just
Their delivery through the whole thing is wonderful.
Oh yeah, I really just like that. Overall, like they're fighting. It's a lot of fights, but then at the end, the last conflict is pretty much just resolved through kind of a conversation. Which, because I mean, that's what a fight is a physical conversation happening, is whose argument supersedes the other person's argument. And here, it actually is a true argument of like, what is the greater good of joining X, Y, and Z, a collective, a hive mind, a greater technological power, versus like the freedom to do whatever we want. However, what's the cost of both, right? Losing yourself. This is a film that's pretty much Invasion of the Body Snatchers reduxed.
Mm-hmm.
And I really kind of enjoyed that it plays into the same 70s fear and paranoia that they had into the same kind of fears that we have in the modern era with like loss of identity, using anonymous, VPNs, everything to kind of conceal who we are, and then kind of just move in en masse on the internet. So it's really interesting that it plays, and it still plays from 2013 into 2021.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
It still plays.
Somebody was comparing it. It was a modern review of the movie, so it was several years after it came out, and they were like, "This is kind of like how the Brits felt about Brexit. Like they were trying to get away from this thing that they thought was bad for them, and then afterwards they were like, oops."
It could be so much worse.
Yeah, it could be so much worse. One of my favorite parts is in that, but it's scattered throughout the movie, but the band names.
Yeah.
But my favorite one is during that scene when he says the old nutter and the shifty twins.
Yeah, it's a
Like
good
Bonnie
band
and
name.
I
You
do
should write
that.
it down. I will.
Bonnie and I do that all the time. Like I wrote down our favorite right now is Stockard Channing and the Granny Panties.
That's why you said that.
That's why I said
Got
that.
it now.
We'll say things where we're like, that's a good band name. Write that down.
Yeah. But yeah, just the resolve that they have in the face of this galactic network that's being like, we could ascend you into.
Why do you think you have technology to begin with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit. They're just so dug into kind of beautifully of who they are, but also very frustratingly who they are.
Yeah.
At the same time. And the line that Nick Frost gets delivered where, Gary King might be a cock, but he's my cock. Doesn't get better than that.
It's a little Douglas Adams too.
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
Like
100%. Well, it's Bill Nye, that's why.
Yeah.
Caitlin?
The movie.
Okay.
Hell
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
Thank
so now
you.
we move on to our
I-
ratings.
I mean, I really like the detail in that when they're young and they finish the pub, they try to do the pub crawl and fail and sit on the
grassy knoll.
the grassy knoll, and you see the comet coming
Mm-hmm.
that day, and I just love Basil so much.
Yeah.
The crazy old guy that drinks from the
Oh,
silly
crazy
straw.
It's really straw.
It's
yeah.
crazy
Not
straw.
crazy now, is it?
Don't ask me about the empties. Well, what about the empties? I told you not to ask me about him.
And then he just disappears.
Yeah.
And becomes an ethereal voice.
Mhm.
Everything about Basil was spot on. And even though I knew what happens in this movie, I still panicked about everything.
Yeah.
So they just do such a good job. It's a good job,
Yeah.
movie.
There's a little sight gag that killed me last night. I forgot about, but I had to pause and rewind. And it's when Nick Frost's character is talking to oh my god, what's her character's name?
Sam?
Rosamund Pike.
Sam, yeah. And she's like, "Well, where are you guys going?" He goes, "Well, it's just the best idea he's got, and we haven't got anything better." And then he turns around
punches
and puts his hand through the
door.
glass in the
Yes.
door.
And he just keeps
really
going.
casually. Yeah. I lost my shit at that. The little sight gags to this, like the 4 beers in the water every time, or the
Oh, yeah.
But also, I
Wonderful
just
editing.
really love Nick Frost's character just
Yeah.
snaps, and I absolutely loved like the idea of nice guy is the one you don't break,
yeah.
and then when you break him, then it's like
So
six
he
shots
takes
down.
he takes all 6
and he
shots.
just
Yeah.
whoops ass. Like
Yeah.
when he grabs 2
Oh.
of those chairs, I was like,
Yeah.
like
It was so cathartic.
and I'm just like, it reminded me of Incredible Hulk when he grabs the sides of the cars.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, why didn't we get more of that though? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he's fighting
And when
a
he
whole army.
drops.
Oh, it's so good. I'm also I love the fact that also it's like it plays that a big guy can whoop a lot of ass, which you don't
Mhm.
see a lot because I don't
No.
know why they just don't want to choreograph that stuff. But I'm like, yeah, like there's a lot of power behind all of those moves, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, smashing heads easy, but then there is a little bit of like if I get all shown in anime, it's like a little bit of a drop of like how strong these blinks get before like from the bathroom of these kid versions, and then a whole pub full of them, and all of a sudden they're just like smacking them, and then the head's popping off. I'm like, all right, whatever.
That's that
Well, because they
Bar.
figure out how to do it.
that bar fight scene is one of my favorites. And looking it up, the choreography for that fight scene is the same choreographer from The Kingsman.
Oh, very cool.
Makes
That
sense.
makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But I love when they're trying to figure out the name for the blanks, and
Oh,
I love
yeah.
and then the best one we've come up with is Smashy Smashy Eggman.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, use that one.
Yeah. Smashy Smashy Eggman. They'll play great drums.
I did like
too.
in that fight scene too. Simon Pegg's character is just trying to have a drink, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Trying
Yeah.
to catch the
But he
deer.
does catch it. He catches it back in and then finally gets knocked out of his hand. For
I-
fuck's sake.
I feel like that's such like a relatable moment in all of our lives. Not trying to get a drink because we're all addicted to something, but more like we're just trying to have one moment,
Yeah.
and then like everything keeps us like, "Oh my god, I'm just trying to have coffee or have tea,"
Yep.
and it's not happening.
Yep. I mean, it's the turn it takes at the end when you figure out why it's so important to Gary King and kind of what he's been through and why he kind of is the way he is. All these little nods of like driving the same car, and when he
Mhm.
asked him where
The
he found the
cassettes.
tape, and he was like, "Isn't
Still
it
in there.
cassette player?"
Yeah.
Like, what a stupid
the last
question.
20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And then finding out why he wouldn't show his shoulder or his elbow, and
Mhm.
having that kind of moment between him, that understanding between him and Nick Frost's character of
There's a good ghost. in
this
the
is still my friend, and I wasn't he's not the best person to be around. He's not always been there for me, but I also wasn't there for him. So I just thought that was the thing this movie does really well, and the reason I think it might be my favorite one is none of them really shy away from having real grounded moments, but I felt like this one overall really didn't shy away from really poking that feeling that kind of exists in all of us about getting older, and
Yeah.
not shying away from, even though this is a comedy horror, not really feeling like these sentimental moments will take away from anything in any way.
Well, I like how kind of we were talking about like there's like a ghost at the beginning of this film of like all these characters, and in that narration that I always love talking about narration at the beginning of the movie. But there's this narration, and you kind of hear and you're informed of these scars that each character has, and you get to see how it looks 20 years later. And each person has their wants and intentions, right? And that's the thing I found very lovely, that Pete has that moment in the forest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because I think there is something, especially like if you listen to this month's worth of episodes, you'll know that there's an episode that we talk about bullying, and that's a really big
Mhm.
deal. And I also, just the fact that unrequited love or having a second chance and all these kind of things that everyone's like, I didn't get a chance to do this thing, and they get a chance to do it. Kind of feels like, I don't know that you guys remember Heart and Souls, where it's like the spirits can't move on to the next point of their life because they have unfinished business.
Mhm.
And
Casper.
and I mean that's again, it's the ghost. It's the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's like the thing that happened before the movie that we don't know of, but it kind of fills the air in the presence of this film. And so you have everyone like, okay, what's each point everyone's going to have? And I really just kind of enjoyed that at the very end, it's a breaking point. It's a moment where he's like, because it's all I have, and I have nothing else to live for. Everyone else has all these great moments and great things, but everything's all a facade. It gets really real in that, again, a technological world, a digital age, where everyone's putting on the facade of what they have instead of what they don't have or what they think they need. So
this watching it this time around, I saw kind of the message of Train Spotting kind of coming in, of choose life, of like him, the dangers of nostalgia and what free will actually means and all that kind of stuff. And everybody else moved on and chose life, and he needed to be in this bubble that was in his mind, the idea of perfection and what he was going to be and all that jazz.
Yeah, and the
hear
feeling
that, fandom gatekeepers?
Talking, I think it was beautifully written, that feeling of being like, I thought that was the beginning of my life, not the end of it, essentially.
Which is very real.
Yeah, and, they also, I remember watching this in theaters, and I don't know if you guys had the same experience as me, but I remember thinking, in the beginning of the film when they're talking about the accident, and then they show Nick Frost's character's office, and he's got the picture of his wife. Like, I thought he crashed and killed his wife, but in reality, it was a drunken night he had with Simon Pegg's character, where he almost died. And then he stopped drinking because of that, and you find out that he's still with his wife, but his wife's leaving. Like, it was such a really wonderful way of like.
It was a really heavy. It was a heavy thing to be like, oh, this is.
I was driving you because you were drunk, driving you home, and I crashed, got my artery thing, and they took me to jail after 2 days in the ICU. So I stopped drinking.
Then I just really, I think that moment doesn't work if you don't have those performances.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's really hard to throw in that exposition at the very end.
Yeah.
And so again, that's why I really enjoyed that. It's like it's a break. It's a huge emotional break.
In the smoke shack.
Yeah.
And it adds the, like at the beginning, we think is kind of like a comedic throwaway of them saying like, even Andy? Even Andy, you got...
After the accident?
Yeah.
No, why wouldn't he be?
The other thing that I like about this movie is it doesn't shy away from what we all know and love, is like the internal references to the story. Like all of the bar names are foreshadowing of what happens in that scene. But also their names, King, Knightley, Page, Chamberlain, Prince, they're all like references.
Hey!
Caitlin's mind is blown.
Got it.
And that's why we come here.
Yep. Didn't even catch it.
Yeah, you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and of course, the last fence gag in the trilogy.
Yep.
And him going, oh, for fuck's sake.
And you think it's the bush thing when he like jumps off the bush and you're like, oh no, that no, then it comes in later.
They even, handheld frame it up perfectly, and then just the ride down is icing on the cake for me.
I do
Rule of threes, baby.
I do like pronouns.
Yeah.
It's a pronoun. It's like, I don't understand it. And it's like, you just used it. And I was like, what? And it's like a pronoun. And then like, I love those moments of like selective memory.
Yeah.
And
he's like a baby.
Someone told me I have selective memory. It was me. Now I would have remembered that.
That's like someone else who has selective memory. Oh, that's me.
Yeah. Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
He's like a baby, a man baby, a maybe.
Yeah. There's really good moments like that.
It's very, the comedy is very, very much so focused on the dialogue.
Yeah.
Like the dialogue is
starbucking things, making it a verb.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what else I could say else.
There's a lot.
Yeah,
the pseudo sentimental scene between him and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Where she's like, you're a lot of fun, but facing 40, you're not really boyfriend material. We'll always have the disables. Yeah. We'll always have the disables. It just drives off.
The reference of the fence. Just blowing over, like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, I just talked about that.
Okay, Jesus Christ. Was I not?
Selective
I know you blacked out.
I literally, I talked about how they handheld it and he rides it down going, for fuck's sake.
Memory.
Handheld frame it up perfectly, and then just the ride down is icing on the cake.
Selective memory.
I heard, that's 100%.
Yeah.
The last thing I heard was maybe. I would have remembered
I don't remember a time that Tom just blacked out.
Wow.
We lost Tom.
Missed 2 minutes of us talking about referencing rule of threes.
Well, because Corey, this is what you draw such a beautiful picture. I'm just watching it, and I'm like, I'm not.
It's a
listening
brand new
anymore.
story.
I'm watching it now. I'm just watching it now.
And that's how selective memory works.
Yeah.
And Sam references of when he's talking to her on the Bluetooth, he says, "Oh, you got lost on that road." And when she comes back and saves the day at the end, she got lost on that road.
Yeah.
But also, she's talking to in that scene that you were just talking about of like sometimes you have to know when to move forward instead of going in reverse.
Yeah.
And she goes in reverse.
She has to go in reverse and turn around and go forward.
Yeah. It's like it's those things that you're like they didn't do that on purpose. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, everything is very
yes,
used. Like
I also gotta shout out the. She's like, "Well, we can go down the ladder. I got a better way," and he jumps off.
That looks so painful.
I always land on my feet. I don't think that's true.
He did.
he did. He landed, and he fell on his ass.
Yeah.
Right after.
Like, oh.
Also,
Is that a landing though? In gymnastics, that would not be considered a landing on your feet. Yeah.
Oh man,
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
really good.
And how they figure out that he's the copy.
Well, it's funny. Again, that's what like to your point of like nothing is wasted. Everything is used for something, and so it's like I really do like it where it's like you have this big chunk. I'm assuming again, first draft, it's a chunk movie, and then they're like, let's whittle it down. So every single line has to be used. Every single description, dialogue, everything is going to be played somewhere else. It's like here's what we got, and here's 6 different ways we're going to use it.
Yep. Showing off the scars, and when Pete shows the wrong leg, I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god! Oh, sorry,
Wrong.
leg."
Oh,
Okay, all
Yeah.
right.
I was gonna say they need to do another one, and Daniel
Yes.
Craig needs to be
Oh,
because we've got the bad guy in Hot Fuzz.
another
Timothy
James
Dalton.
Bond?
Another James
Oh,
Bond.
yeah, we
So
do.
Daniel Craig needs to be in one.
Yeah.
Was there
Sean
was
Connery.
there a James
Yeah.
Bond in
Sean?
Sean?
I don't think so.
No.
Damn.
No one knew him yet.
No one knew James Bond yet.
No one knew James Bond yet. They were like, we don't.
Yep, it's just been around for
Here's
like
this
70
weird
years.
franchise that goes on forever.
I mean, they got a guy from Mission Impossible in it.
Pegg.
Yeah.
True.
I was like, yeah, the writer.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, he also acts in it.
Yeah. I like that they use shots very intelligently and very resourcefully, like reusing the bar. The second pub
Yeah.
is the same pub, just
Yeah.
dressed differently. And then also every time they do the punch in for the draft coming in, it's like it's the same shot just punched in.
Also, in each pub, there's
for the
the
water.
number. There's a number of what that pub is.
Mhm.
Like in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The number of that pub is in there, hidden in the shot.
Oh, I'll have to check that
Oh.
out. I didn't notice that.
It's fun. Fun little things.
Favorite characters.
Favorite characters. Let's do.
Because I could go on and on about this
Yeah,
movie.
let's do 2.
Okay.
2 favorite. I mean, is it always going to be the hard? It's always going to be Simon Pegg and Nick Frost because they're the ones
No.
that always resolve or around the thing.
I
No,
don't think so.
Okay,
I
we'll
don't
do 2.
think so for this movie.
All
Okay.
right, then go ahead.
I really enjoyed Steven and Basil a lot.
All right.
nice.
Steven finally got the gumption
Yep.
to speak his mind. Not the best moment because he kind of misread the situation,
Yeah.
but he still came through. And then Basil's just this mysterious, crazy straw using
It's
old
Filch.
man. And yeah, he's just great. He's
Yeah.
almost like omnipotent somehow because of his crazy.
Crazy old man.
It's great. I love him so much.
I'm still human. Who knows how long? I also love in that scene
crazy
where
old
he, where
man
he
in the-
tells her finally, and Simon Pegg comes over and puts his hand out, and she reaches. He goes, "Bum a smoke," and she's like, "Oh, yeah, sure."
So he's, yeah, that made me
Uh,
so upset with Gary. I just,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Gary.
Well, yeah, he's not gonna. And that's the thing. Like, it's hard to side with him because he barely ever saves the cat.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like ever.
But he does.
But he does.
I just have a band name. Crazy
Gary
old
saves
man
the
and the
cat?
crazy straws.
Crazy old man and the crazy straws.
Yeah. My favorite absolutely is Pete. He really speaks to me, and I'm really sad that I wasn't part of the conversation for bullying because I missed a lot of school because I was relentlessly bullied.
And there's
Oh.
that
until I
line in
was-
the film.
Yeah,
He's like,
and
he made
when
me miss more school than chickenpox.
when
And then
he
Gary
talks about
sits
it.
back down with the shots. Shots.
So he always speaks to me because I'm like, I know, I lost
How
a
that
lot.
goes.
I missed a lot of school. And then I love Andy. I love the friend that's just like I can't let up. I have to. I don't like him, but I love
Samwise.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
You always need a Samwise.
you got that good friend.
Also, can I just talk about referencing the 5 Musketeers, then the 4 Musketeers, till it's
Well, nobody
finally
knows.
the 3 Musketeers? Well, no one knows.
And they're both wearing blue.
Funny thing is, they say the same thing about the Bible, that it was written by Alexander Dumas. No, it was written by Jesus.
Corey, you me.
Go for it. I'm curious.
Opposite. I like Andy and then I like Pete. Andy,
Oh.
I just love him being the reluctant one, him being the one that's like the logical, and then finally of like, well, if no one else is going to be logical, we're going to go with the only plan that we have. And also, he just kind of like takes charge. And again, without him, there isn't really this kind of scar, really, because everyone kind of pretty much forgives Gary. So I just really enjoyed that. And then Pete, like I just also really liked, like, I don't see that actor that often unless he's like a terribly placed evil henchman guy in American films.
Yeah.
And then seeing this, I'm like, in the last two films, I'm like, oh, I like him. Why don't we get more of him? He's becoming a Paul Giamatti for me. Like, we need more of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, continuing Nick Frost's character's fascination with moms. He cares about moms. But also Nick Frost, getting to see him play a straight man.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I love that. Like, yeah, he has like the lazy character, whatever, for scene in Sean, and then he's like the baby in Hot Fuzz, and here he's an adult man. He is. I have a business.
Yeah.
I am a business.
Yes.
And then, so I just really enjoyed that. Also, just like, oh, okay, cool. He gets to be almost the antagonist because we want to have fun and we want to watch Simon Pegg do his thing. So it's in that sense. Corey,
Gary and Indy.
There had to be
100%.
one.
King of
Andy for all the reasons you said, but Gary is that there is that, reference to that part of us that we've all had that thing that's like everyone's like, but why? It's so stupid. And you're like, because I need to do this. I need to do this thing, and I can't really.
It doesn't make
explain
sense,
it to you.
but you got to do it.
Yeah.
I can't explain it to you. I wish I could, but I need to do it. And I am someone who thinks a lot about that part of getting older and just like all these things I remember doing or wanted to do that I don't do anymore. And, it's a bittersweet kind of thing because I'm doing other cooler stuff now, but also I really miss some of the stuff from when I was like 22, 23. So yeah, I think it's the two of them for sure. And the way they come together at the end is beautiful.
Yeah.
Now we move on to the Quimmy Quams of Qualms.
Qualms.
I'm gonna. Who wants to go first? Does anyone have any?
I don't have any. I really don't have
The
any.
misunderstanding of this of this film. Can that be a qualm? No.
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead, please.
It was a lot harder to root for this film
Sure.
just because in the previous two, your Simon Pegg has people rooting for him in a positive way. And it's not to say that people aren't rooting for him in this film as well, but it's in that very
he's
negative
a terrible
light.
human being.
He kind
He's
of
a
has
really
better
terrible
intentions.
person.
For reasons that become clear, and he saves the cat later, but still, it's like
Yeah, it's very hard to be. It feels like watching this movie. That I've been listening through a couple different reactions to the movie and everything, and a lot of people say that this is the weakest one, which I don't agree with. Really, I think when you watch the other movies, it's the growth in the way that you want it to be, and we learned a life lesson and now we get to move on. This one is the life lesson happens at a great cost.
Sure.
And-
the other two are much more adolescent films.
Right.
And this is a film for someone who's in their 30s and 40s.
Right. And if this is probably just a me thing, but watching this movie felt like I too was enabling him during his journey. So you're kind of being, as the audience member, you're being dragged along to all the bars too. And it felt like, I don't want you to be doing this, but you're doing it anyway. And you're kind of the only one having a good time. There's that cringy feeling of.
What did you call it? You called it the secondhand embarrassment?
Yeah,
at one point?
secondhand
Yeah.
cringe, secondhand embarrassment. I get that very strongly.
Don't kill the
Yeah.
cringe. Kill the part of you that cringes.
Yeah, well, I hope I don't kill the part of you that cringes about enabling people with addictions.
Listen to some of our updates. Anyways, but no, I 100% get that remark because I think this is so much more nuanced.
Yes,
And that's
far
like
more.
a very hard broad stroke to write it in, but like it is. It's not zombies and cops. It is, you don't know what's going to happen. And like just like with the brief synopsis that you read off at the beginning, like the latter part and more of the physical conflicts that happen are
Well, the setup is 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
We don't get to like the alien part until half an hour in.
Yeah, I mean, well, Shaun of the Dead is survive zombies. Hot Fuzz is cop in a new place. This one is more you see it as like a little bit of a mystery of like what are these things.
Yeah.
It's more about hey, I'm young adolescent man trying to relive my best times, and so it doesn't have so much of a button or a bow or nicely wrapped up like those other two films. So it has a steeper hill to climb for I think more general audiences, and that's why people would have.
You'd have to watch it multiple times to really have everything sink in.
Yeah.
It's a fun watch every time because haha, blue Lego people, let's fight.
I mean,
Rah.
my almost take would be is like I think the audience would have to then also grow with these films too to
Right.
be able
And
to
it is,
watch these.
strangely enough, it is a happy ending.
Yeah,
Everyone gets what they want.
Yeah,
They're just
Every
not,
single
just not the
person.
way they
just
think.
the world is
Yeah.
destroyed.
But
Yeah, but even they said they didn't.
But
They
that's
didn't lose
also
too many
surface
people,
level,
right? It
yeah.
was like just his mom and one other person.
and
that
really, they have
lost.
to just start society over,
Yeah,
which
everything
isn't
went organic real
And I
quick.
necessarily a bad thing.
And I think that to me, I've had conversations recently of like people being very fearful of technology or being hating the idea of it. To me, I'm like, the idea of coexisting with the blanks. I'm like, that's a more mature conversation of like what we think of other life forms. And I think that takes it in a way where like, yeah, if they tend to be benign and they just want to live in tandem with us, then I think that's more of like the reality versus conquerors and conquered. And I think that also is a not binary conversation that people don't like.
Mhm.
You know, like I think the very end of Shaun of the Dead plays so well is because it's funny.
Mhm.
Where this is like it's Wild Wild West, and this guy has become like this like equal fight. Yeah, Will Smith. This equal like liberation fighter for equality.
Yeah.
Which is very like
Which is what he needed
Yeah.
in the end.
Well, this is also this
To
film.
forever be with his boys.
This is an interesting film specifically to Edgar Wright because if you look at this film, it's very split. There are people that say this is the best movie he's ever made, and then there are some that they're like, "Why did this movie suck?" and blah blah blah. So it's like it's a very torn
Divided.
audience. So it's very
Well, there's so much. There's
Yeah.
so much in there.
There's a lot to unpack in this one. It's the most narratively packed
Yeah.
film with a lot of different character growths in one. Not just usually the one. Like Shaun of the Dead is really one person changes
Yeah.
by the end of it.
which
Yes.
is it's interesting, right? Because we talk
I mean, they all change.
we talk about this as the Cornetto Trilogy, right? And we talk about a director and their body of work. And so when you have named directors like, you know, you hear David Fincher, Tarantino, Nolan, all these people, you kind of start learning their language. You start, when you watch their films, you start understanding how do they want to translate meaning, like finding numbers in the background, you know, do the locations and places have foreshadowing? How do they use these things? And so to that point of like, there's a lot of information knowledge drop at the beginning. It's like, well, kind of Edgar Wright has built his body of work in a way where it's like, if you've been reading along, this isn't the first book of the, you know, Arthur Conan Doyle, you know,
Right.
story. It's like, this is, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so there is like a kind of a grace that has to, I think, kind of be given. I know there's always the argument for the other side of like, well, every film should be standing alone by themselves. I'm like, I 100% agree with that too. But if this is part of a trilogy, then you have to take it as a trilogy.
Yeah.
You know, you don't get to walk into Infinity War and be like, this didn't explain who Iron Man was to me. I'm like, did you want to be like a comic book and have like Iron Man is Tony Stark, blah, 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 blah.
or listening to like this is just a band that comes to mind, like Muse. If you listen to their first albums and you listen to their current albums, they've changed, they've grown, and so it's just like the filmmakers grow as well in terms of they use some of the same things.
Yeah, that's what the in trilogy references are there for. Like, it's like these are connected. These are why do you think the cast stays the same? You know, those kind of things. You have a second qualm, Kaylin?
I don't think so. That was really it.
I have one or
Oh.
two. I think maybe one. I felt Sam was a little not utilized as well as
that's fair.
possible. She becomes Deus Ex Machina at the very end, which like everyone shits all over Deus Ex Machina. I'm totally cool with it.
Mhm.
Like that's totally it leaves that Goonies that childlike feeling of like, oh, the good thing can
Things
happen.
can go
Yeah.
well.
You know, I felt a little bit. She was kind of look, and also Rosamund Pike, smoke show. She'd bay for days. But I felt like I was like, I want her to do
He's not
more.
wrong.
She
He's not wrong.
she kind of became there to kind of just be fallen in love for. But also, remind him of like his heyday. He's not a lady killer and all that shit, but also Patty Constantine character, gets to actually have a conversation with her and tell her how he feels. And saves them. So it's like she's kind of just there to save them, but I know like it's very like it's like very Emma Watson-y of like it's hard to bring someone who's very logical into these dumb guys' world because they're all not doing the thing. And with her, like I don't know what she needs to grow, and maybe she's a character that doesn't need to grow, and that's the argument there. But I would have just wanted more, and that's more of like a personal preference instead of a blind disregard of what the story they're saying. And I think that is
it.
my only qualm.
I
don't
will
have
kind
any.
of tag on that a little bit that she didn't seem super upset about her brother being turned into a robot. She was upset.
The last thing she asked was to find out what happened to him.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you happen? I was like, I'll tell you on the way there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, it just a little bit of that bothered me. I don't know why, but not so
a fight or
seriously that
flight,
I made it a full on
Yeah.
qualm. But I was like, man,
But now he's volleyball head.
yeah,
Is that what
no,
it
he's
is?
volleyball head,
Yeah.
and he
He's
sells
very happy.
houses.
He's Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Aw.
I don't think I have any more qualms to that.
That's fine.
Cool. We'll talk about the ratings after. So who's going first? All of us.
Anyone except Caitlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
alphabetical. Corey, me, Tom.
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks.
What is it, Corey?
It's a 5.
Oh, a 5.
This film is a 5. I think if I didn't have as much nostalgia attached to Shaun of the Dead, this would be definitely my favorite in the trilogy. But it's up in the air.
They're both 5s.
Yeah, they're both 5s.
Yeah.
They're both 5s.
You almost grumped yourself. You're like, oh, 3.
Yeah.
You grumped yourself.
No, I just mean like I really do think this as a film just takes a very large step in storytelling and filmmaking and acting and writing. Just everything kind of elevates.
That's
a
why I
little bit.
didn't pick Corey.
Yeah.
I knew he was gonna say words like that.
He's gonna say words and sentences.
So
like that.
I absolutely love this film. I think it's so strong.
Josh?
It's a 5.
Yeah.
5.
It's again, it's one of those movies, like I said at the top, that I enjoy differently than the other two for different reasons in terms of the themes and the character development that occurs over the course of the movie. Pete, really, he speaks to me a lot, but it's just I just love the character journeys. I love where it ends. It's a 5. It's a 5.
For me,
That's you.
it is a 4.7.
Yeah, I knew.
7.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds right.
For me, not in the same way, whatever the reactions on the internet, I think this is my least favorite out of all. I feel like I remember watching this back in the day and having no strong feelings.
Wow.
Not good nor bad. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, I definitely am like, oh yeah, those movies. And then this one I'm like, and then there's Will End. It's nothing against it, but it was more like it just didn't hit me as hard. And as an adult later on, like I watched the film and I think, and that's why I say like it has so much more of a nuanced message, which I really enjoy and loved. But purely compared to the other two, like I didn't find it like almost as squeaky clean and surgically
fair.
done. Like I hate to make the same comparison, but it's kind of like Get Out and Us comparatively, where like Us has so much more to say, or this has actually a little bit more to say than all of the other films.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
it just kind of resolves. And again, I like the fact that it ends on a conversation, but then it was like, it ends how it begins, where it's like, here's a bunch of stuff that happened, and then now here's the bulk of the story. And then it ends, it's like, now here's what a bunch of stuff that happened. And I really like the end of it, but I just felt like it almost was like, well, that's it. I was like, what? I wanted to see.
What
I wanted
happens
to
next?
see it all.
Tell
Like, I
me,
wanted
give me
to
more.
see, like how they were like, all right, this is how we break it to everybody. But then I do like that the story goes on, right? We begin with the story from Gary, and then we go on with the story with Andy. And I was like, yeah, that's nice and it's cool. And like, I don't know what's going on. Like, there's like a legend going on, and also like to err is human, to forgive is divine. Like, there's a lot of good stuff going on with it. But I just felt like overall, in terms of the 3 films, this is the lowest of them.
All right,
Kaylin,
open your phone. Let me see.
Why?
Okay, I just wanted to check. I thought he already wrote down my score for me.
I'm not an asshole. I don't just assume. But it's probably a 5.
That was my guess. My real guess.
Oh yeah,
for
that makes
everyone.
sense.
Tom.
Was that for me?
Yeah.
Guessing? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, it's a 5.
It's a 5
Yeah.
for Caitlin.
Yeah, it's a 5. Of course, it's a 5.
Look.
I mean, to be fair, I have kind of the same issue that you do with it, but at
Didn't
the
see
same
that
time,
coming.
You didn't see Caitlin having 5?
No. I thought it'd be a
Really?
4.8, 4.9.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but
But again, Caitlin's number is really based on entertainment.
it is.
Yeah.
And this is one of those movies where I felt I'm going to watch this again and again multiple times in life, and it's going to mean different things to me. And it's going to speak to different parts of me.
Yeah.
And as not quite sure as I am about it now, I know I'm going to be down the road. So that's
Future
why.
sight.
Yeah, it's one of the. Well, the fact that I'm even entertaining the idea of watching it again is a sign
It's a
that I
big-
really enjoyed
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because normally I'm a one and done. I will
Yeah.
watch it. It's great. I
saw that
Rent
movie.
it,
I saw that
stream it.
movie.
But this
Yeah,
one's like, I'll
and
buy it and watch
maybe
again.
like a very long time will pass, and then I'll watch it again. And it was nostalgia little thing.
And
All right.
I would have to say, like, almost, the thing that's really cool about this trilogy is that each film you could kind of watch on their own.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you watch them together,
If you watch them together, you get a grander,
enriched.
experience. I almost feel like, though, like, as an
I
adult,
almost said
and-
McRiched. I had McDonald's today.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You get a McRiched experience.
Oh my god.
I do feel like I think this one film, however, is one of those that, like, you guys know me. You guys, if you listen to the show, you know when I'm like, you have to watch this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I think this is the one that I would say.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think in terms of like importance, and I think in every adult person's life who is figuring themselves out, having an emotional journey, and kind of learning how to deal with the ghosts of their past,
And the existential dread of mortality.
Sure. They should watch this
All of a
one
sudden
over all of them. Obviously Sean and Hot Fuzz are like entertainment values. Like,
Oh,
if you like
of
this, yeah. But like this one's like, as a human being, you should watch
Yeah.
this movie.
We have some shout outs.
But the most important
Oh.
message is that Thomas Agrum.
Thomas Agrum.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Brock P. and Matt R. Well done.
Brock P. and
Those are our Guesser, Gator, Grumper, Gator, Golden,
Golden
Mile, Guess
Crowning Glory.
Blankers,
Crowning Glory?
Crowning Glory.
Growning Glory.
Damn.
Marmalade Sandwich.
Marmalade Sandwich, Grumper Guessers.
I'm
Wow.
not editing this episode now.
I
Because of that-
refuse. Also, another fun fact: that last pub that he goes to when it's him in his like post-apocalyptic world,
Mhm.
it says 13 in the background. It's the
Mm.
13th pub.
13th pub.
Oh.
Yep.
Well done. I would watch a movie called The World's Beginning where it follows him and his blanks around.
Yeah.
I would.
Oh
It
It would
my
be
God.
Gary King and the
Wasteland.
Enablers.
Watch
Yeah.
that so much.
Yeah. Or would it be Crazy Old Man and the Shifty Twins?
Wouldn't it be called The King's Blank?
Oh.
Mm,
The
it could
King's
be.
Blanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King's Blanks.
Yeah, the Golden Circle.
Oh,
Because it's a mile.
it's called Kingsmen.
Oh.
Yeah,
Kingsmen.
Oh. Wow, that's actually
Anyway,
the most
well,
appropriate
Take us
one.
out of here.
Yeah.
Everybody at home, thank you so much for joining us.
Wow.
If this is your first episode, welcome.
Hi.
Well-
Bienvenue.
Oh.
Welcome.
Willkommen, bienvenue.
Tell us what you thought.
When he says, I'm not wearing hockey
Oh
pants.
my God.
That's like kills me every time.
So do I.
Well played. Well,
Happy anniversary!
this
Oh,
is
my
our
Lord.
4th anniversary. If you are joining us, this is your first episode. You have a lot of episodes to listen to.
And you can listen to them all for free.
All for free.
But if you want to listen to some dark Nerd On After Dark episodes, that's
Which we don't have
4 to 20
Yet.
quarters.
yet. But now I'm kind of intrigued, and maybe we should.
Oh.
Nerd on the ASMR cast.
Yeah. So go on over to
Just
Patreon.
licking mics.
hit up that Patreon, nerdon.tv/Patreon. Join the Nerd On Nation, and you get fun stuff. Like I said, early access to episodes, bonus episodes. You get to support us in everything that we do, and we can grow and be the best that we can be. And he is just gonna.
Everyone's
Anyway.
grabbing Josh's penis.
Yeah.
Hand.
My penis hand.
Yeah, it's a baby's hand with holding an apple.
Anyway. Josh.
I love you, Tom.
That's a compliment.
Just
Happy 4 years, everyone.
if you like what you hear today, stop by, rate, review, share it with your friends and family, all that good stuff. Head on over to our website, nerdon.tv. It has all of the information, all of the links, everything. All the
links.
episodes are there. All
It's
of the
true.
episodes
They
are
are.
on our website, and you can go listen to the full catalog
Right now.
of so many episodes.
And people catch up.
Yeah.
People
They do.
constantly
Wow,
get
do
something
they?
like- Yeah, they're like, oh, I'm listening to this one. I'm like, oh my God.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That was 200 episodes ago. Anyway, thank you so much. We heart you. Take care of yourselves. You know the drill. As always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.